Warning: contains adult content including harsh language, violence, and sexual themes, and may not be suitable for people under age 17.
I couldn't do it. It's like a horrible addiction I can't overcome without suffering terrible withdrawal symptoms. I know that sounds stupid, but it's true. But when you were with me, I felt sane. I had no thoughts or urges to go out and kill anyone. I just wanted to be with you. My birthday wish was to spend the rest of my life with you, happily and peacefully. I found this crystal stuck in the mud while walking through a forest. It was spherical at the time, but I went to a creek and washed it off. I sat on a log and began carving into it with difficulty, with my sad excuse for a knife. I'm sure you've realized I left my old one in your bathroom. Sorry about that. Eventually, the crystal started taking the shape of a heart. I was lucky that it was just glass and not something uncuttable like diamond, though I would have sent you the diamond even if I couldn't cut it. The heart was messy and it really sucks, I know. But I managed to get a hold of cellophane and a ribbon, wrapped it up, and I will find a time to sneak up to your apartment. If your door isn't locked, you'll find this inside. If it is locked, I'll just tape it to your door. And if you hold it to the light, it reflects colorful rainbows onto surfaces. It's more vibrant in sunlight, but seeing how it's been raining, you know. I know you don't love me anymore, but I pray that you'll take me back one day. I believe that, if I'm with you, I can fight this sadistic problem of mine and live like a normal person. Of course, I probably have to change my name and appearance. No one is going to believe that I kicked the habit of killing people. I love you with all my heart. I cry every night thinking about you. I miss Haku too. Oh yeah, he belonged to a family I killed. I didn't want to leave him alone where he might be taken to a shelter that may put him down. I hope that doesn't make you love him any less. Anyway, my fingers are too cold to write anymore. I love you. Kodo. Mina read the letter, tears falling onto the page and smudging the ink. She wiped her eyes on the sleeve of her sweater and folded the paper again. She stuck it in a drawer where she kept all of her meaningful possessions. She set the crystal on the windowsill so that, when the sun came out again, it would shine rainbows on the walls. There was a knock at the door just as soon as Mina had turned the news on again. She stood up and walked to it, her heart hammering. What if it was Kodo? Wasn't he too afraid to come near her? She opened the door and saw Hima under an umbrella. Hima wasn't as pretty as Mina, but she was still cute. She had long black hair that was tied into a ponytail, and she wore square black-framed glasses. "Can I come in?" she asked. "Of course," Mina replied. She let in her best friend, who shook her umbrella and came inside, discarding her shoes next to Mina's. She looked at the television. "What's happening now?" Hima asked dolefully. They sat down in front of it together. "Probably the same as every day," said Mina. "I just want to see if there's another message." "Why do you care about what the messages say?" asked Hima, sounding repulsed. She paused, closing her eyes and trying not to cry. "I just think it's strange that he could love some girl out there so much." Just as they thought, another family had been murdered, a little closer to the apartment than the others. Again, there was a message on the wall. The anchor described it as being short, but the letters were so large it nearly covered the entire wall. "I love you," was all it said. Mina couldn't help it now. She burst into tears, covering her face. "Mina, what on earth?" exclaimed Hima. "What has gotten into you?" Mina shook her head. She sniffed. She knew that, if she told Hima, she would go to the police. She couldn't deny the feeling, however, that she needed Kodo back. She looked at Hima, who looked utterly bewildered. We need to go. Look for something. Come on." "What?" But before Hima could protest, Mina had turned the television off, grabbed her by the arm, and they were running out into the rain with their umbrellas. Kodo was sitting under a bridge, barely visible to anyone who happened to walk by. He was taking shelter from the rain, but it didn't matter. He was still freezing, and the tears falling down his cheeks weren't helping. Mina hadn't left his mind for even a second since he had left. "You're wasting time and energy on her," the voice in his head kept telling him, but he argued against it until it shut up again. He sat against the cold stone wall of the bridge, remembering things Mina had said to him. I feel I can trust you. You have such an attractive laugh. I want to hear it more often. I can't imagine you breaking anyone's heart who didn't deserve it, or hurting anyone at all for that matter. Oh, Kodo, I'm so happy around you. I don't know what I'd do if you weren't around anymore." Kodo cursed at himself for not being strong enough to stop killing people. This would have never happened. He would have never lost the one person he loved. "That's what you get for developing an attachment," said the voice quietly. "You should probably just kill yourself." Kodo actually considered this for a moment, until he heard voices in the rain. "Mina, what are you looking for?" said Hima in exasperation. I lost something, and I don't know where it is," said Mina, searching around. She wanted to call him by name, but she'd give herself away. Kodo's heart skipped a beat. He knew that voice, and it had been so long since he'd heard it. He looked around the wall of the bridge and saw her. His chest swelled with joy, and he wanted to call out, but he stopped himself. Mina's eyes fell on the hooded figure crouched behind the bridge, staring right at her. Her heart leapt and she ran towards it. As soon as Kodo realized she had seen him, he couldn't help himself. He sprinted out from behind the bridge and ran towards her, tackling her to the wet ground. Hima ran after, shouting to Mina, thinking she had been attacked. "Mina," Kodo whispered, staring at her tear-streaked face. She smiled, shaking as she cried. She started kissing him deeply, more than she ever had before. Hima froze, seeing what was happening. She couldn't tell who the man was because of his hood. She assumed it was the man who had walked out on Mina that she had never met. "Kodo, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," Mina whispered after breaking the kiss. Kodo was crying now as well. "You have nothing to be sorry for," he whispered back. This is all my fault. I destroyed my life." "I want to help you," said Mina, sitting up and helping him to stand. "I want to help you get better." It was then that Hima saw his face. She screamed, dropping her umbrella. Mina and Kodo jumped, staring at her as she pointed. "It's him!" she shouted. "It's him! Help! Help!" Mina had rushed forward, covering her mouth. "Hima," she muttered, and Kodo pulled the hood over his eyes in shame. "Stop. It's okay." "Okay?" she hissed after pulling Mina's hand away from her mouth. "Mina, he's a murderer. He killed Saya. He's killed hundreds of people." "If you just listen to me and cooperate," Mina growled, "then the murders will stop." She took a deep breath. "Hima, those messages on the victims' walls were to me." "What?" Hima gasped. I love him," said Mina sadly. "When I found out who he was, I kicked him out, but I never told a soul. I've been depressed because part of me was hurt that he was a lying, murderous maniac, but most of me missed him." Hima looked as though she couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Please, Hima, he regrets killing Saya. He had no idea who she was. That's no excuse, I know, but he wants to stop. It's a sickness. He tried to stop, but he needs help. Please keep this a secret. I need your support." Hima glared, searching her face as if Mina had gone insane. Finally she sighed. "All right," said Hima softly. I don't like it, but I'll keep quiet. For you." Mina smiled, hugging her tightly. "Will you come with us?" she asked, and Hima blinked. "Come with you?" She didn't understand. "He can't stay here," Mina explained. "He needs to change his name, his appearance, and we need to leave town, move far away. We need to keep him hidden until he's forgotten." "You're crazy. Please, Hima. I can't do it without you." Hima sighed again, staring at Kodo, who was watching them sadly. "All right," she said after a while. "I'll come with you, but I swear to God if he tries to kill me, he won't." The two girls walked through the wet grass back over to Kodo. He watched Hima timidly. "Kodo, this is my other best friend, Hima. I've told you a little about her." Hima glared at him, and Kodo gently took his hand out of his pocket, offering it to Hima. She grimaced, staring at it. It was stained with blood. "Oh," said Kodo softly, and put it back into his pocket. Nice to meet you." Hima looked at Mina skeptically. She ignored her. "Kodo," she said gently, "we're going to take you and move far away from this town." What?" he stammered, staring at her dripping face. "We are putting you into hiding until everyone forgot this ever happened. It'll be ancient history." "You might be in danger," he protested. "Both of you." "Mina is intent on fixing your disturbed little mind," Hima spat. "So we're going to do that. You make Mina happy, but not if you're a homicidal maniac." Kodo laughed feebly, looking back to Mina, who smiled. "Let's go back to the apartment and get ready to leave," she said. "How will we travel?" Kodo asked. "We can't take public transportation." "I have a car," Hima interjected. "I'll tell my parents I've finally decided to move out and do something with my life." "Hima, go home and get packed," said Mina, turning to her. "Meet us at my apartment when you're done, okay?" "All right," she agreed, and forced a smile. She picked up her sopping umbrella and hurried home. Mina yanked Kodo's hood lower over his face and walked with him, hiding under her equally soaked umbrella. In about 2.5 hours, Mina, Hima, and Kodo were driving out of the town, the car packed with stuff, and Haku stuffed in a carrier, which he did not like at all. They weren't sure where they could go that would be safe enough so that people wouldn't recognize Kodo. Mina had taken both of Kodo's knives away and buried them before they left, trying to leave Kodo's past behind with them. "We can't go to Tokyo," said Hima. "Too many people." "Should we leave the country?" asked Mina, but Kodo shook his head. "There's nowhere we could go," he said. "You two can only speak Japanese. My second language is English, but I don't think we'd have enough money to make it to Britain or America." "Let's just find a small town near the south," said Hima, watching signs on the freeway so that she could go in the right direction. "What about Saga?" asked Kodo. "Is that small enough?" said Mina. "It's worth a shot," replied Hima. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun was shining through the clouds. Mina forced Kodo to wear sunglasses so that no one from their own cars could see his face and guess who he was. The crystal, which Mina had set on the dashboard, started reflecting dancing rainbows all over the inside of the car. Mina and Kodo looked at each other and shared a smile. A year had gone by since the last known murder. After the sudden disappearance of the Sakura murder, the police concluded that he must have killed himself, but to still be alert. Kodo, despite his protest, was forced to bleach his hair and cut it significantly shorter. "I still like it," said Mina, as Hima finished with the style. She had decided to go to beauty school. "I'm blonde, Mina," he exclaimed, feeling it dismally. "Actually, it's like a caramel color," said Hima. "Oh, shut up!" Mina stared at him, pouting. She suddenly smiled, clapping her hands together, having a brilliant idea. "Let's dye it blood red!" she said excitedly. Hima and Kodo both stared at her. "Are you making fun of me?" asked Kodo. "Dye it blood red, like the color of blood, because I'm a murderer." Mina's smile fell. "That's not the reason," she mumbled. "It's just, you like it dark, and I think it would look cute on you." Kodo smiled at her and leaned back in the kitchen chair he had been sitting in. "Blood red it is," he said. Hima scowled, holding out her hand. Give me more money so that I can go to the beauty supply store and get the color, she demanded angrily. What, you don't have it? Asked Koto, turning to look at her. Oh, yes, said Hima with sarcasm. Here, let me just pull it out of my ass. Stop fighting, said Mina, pulling out some money and giving it to Hima. There, problem solved. Hima growled and left the house.